What's going on, everyone? Thomas Jordan here with another episode. Today, we are joined by country singer, songwriter, and storyteller, Todd Cameron. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Doing well, my friend. So we'll just jump right into it. How did you get started in the industry?
Man, I tell you, music was always something that I was interested in just from a child, and I grew up started playing real small in church just with a couple buddies and just kind of went from there. It evolved in coffee houses, around town when I was, younger in high school, and then finally got to college, kind of formed a band, and that one fell through, happened multiple more times, across the next several years. And then finally just got some support, back home in West Virginia, where I'm from my job that I was working at the time. It was like, hey, you should get somewhere where you can, excel at your hobby as well as, grow with this, company. And so, why don't you check out Nashville? And over the next couple of weeks, it was just the craziest thing ever. I interviewed for a job and got moved down here to Nashville. And I was literally uprooted my whole life and living here within 4 weeks of that conversation. And man, the rest is just kind of just bumps along history. The road. Yeah, it's just crazy.
I'm always curious of what your first band was called, because I did, like, any artist that exists, like they tell you their first couple band names and you just kind of like chuckle a little bit.
Man, we had one. I think it was called like Third Frame or something like that was one, and then we had one called Incoming. This is one of our rocker days, That was back in the day when you just needed a number to go in your whatever random word is you chose for a band name. But I do remember those, like, we never had merch or anything. And thankfully, I don't need that resurfacing. But yeah, that was, we had some funny ones. We tossed it along, I would say, a whole lot of other band names that were not good. So.
And when did you figure out that you could sing? Like, is it one of those things where you kind of knew? Or like, because
I still don't think I can sing. There's probably a lot of people that agree with that too. Nah, you know what? I tell you, when it started for me, it was really funny. And this is something that I've really, really had to work at. For me, like I still struggle because, especially live, I get so amped up off of a crowd, and like breathing is such a technique, and I'll just like forget to breathe. Like I'm just trying to pile in every word I can. But I would say in those bands, in some of those previous bands that I was in, and I played with a couple other guys, the singer always forgot the lyrics. And that was like a huge thing to me, because I'd start out just playing guitar. That was just what I did. I just played guitar for him. And like, I was like, hey, this is your one job. Like, you can't forget the lyrics. How are we going to ever make it if you can't remember the words of the songs? We're just going to be instrumental, I guess. Yeah. And so I would always remember them, and I'd have to step up and start singing on a microphone that they would just have there for me. I didn't even do harmonies or anything, but multiple times this happened across different shows. And finally, a couple of band members I was with was like, man, you should just sing. At least you can remember the words. And I was like, I got to remember the words so I know what we are in the song, and it just kind of started from there. I think it was like when I went off to college about that time. That's when there was like some open mic nights, and I was just like, I'm going to go down and play some songs, and that's what I did. It was kind of funny. So all that happened.
Yeah, that's crazy that you started by default. And I always thought it was kind of interesting too, like you said, when people forget the lyrics to their own songs. But then if you really think about it, like, how many songs do you have, and like how many lyrics do you have to memorize, plus all the, if you're playing guitar too or playing any other sort of instrument, like, it's a lot.
Man, these guys on Broadway down here, they're just absolutely amazing. I mean, there's just some undiscovered talent right now that, like, they just amaze me that they can just remember how something kind of goes. And, and just to think that's been going on for years downtown Nashville, just like, people come up tip and will play a song, hey, can you play this? Can you play this? And especially with all the new music that is out these days, like, that's the thing, is how these guys just stay up on it. I'll be honest with you, I can't keep up. And there's days that I don't even turn on country radio. I'm just like, I won't even turn on music, period, because my ears are just burning, and I just listen to the sound of my wheels, I guess. But it's unreal, because we've definitely had some situations where some fans were like, oh, you don't know this song? I'm just like, look, I'm not a walking, talking jukebox here. I'm definitely not able to, know everything. I mean, but we'll try it. I mean, hey, if I know a snippet of it, we'll butcher anything for $20. No, but that's just kind of how I joke about it and get around it.
Yeah. And what was, you talked about your first, or going to open mics a lot. What was your
Yeah.
first open mic experience like?
Wow. You know what? The first one that I really remember, that probably that experience for me was, there was about 6 people in the crowd, maybe 7. And I was like so excited that there were 7 people there, that were going to hear my music. And that's how you know that you do this for music. It's not about, the fame or fortune. I pick on people all the time trying to say, man, you're killing it out there. And I'm like, listen, if it was for the money, I'd have quit a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, it has nothing to do with it. It's just, you love the music and you love it that much that you just like to see 7 or 8 people just enjoy the heck out of it. I always say 5 or 5,000, you're going to get the same show out of me. And so it was a good feeling, man. Just sinking that in, like somebody's actually listening to my music. So
was there a mixture of nerves, like excited and nervous, or were you just so excited to be on a stage and there was people in front of you?
It could have gone either way for me. I think, trying to think back that far, it was probably definitely a mixture. I think there's always been, some hesitation too, of like, oh, they're what if they don't like this? I mean, that always crosses your mind, like that something's not going to go over well. And it took me a long time to overcome that. I think, the excited rush, and then when you get done with it, you're just like, oh man, I was so nervous to do that, but I kind of want to go do it again. And even to this day, if I do writers rounds downtown, I still, because I call it a pissing match, because you're literally getting up on stage with 3 other artists and everybody's playing their best stuff. And I'm like, so you're always in your head comparing, and it's a lot of work to be like, don't do that. Just let the music, let it be you, and let them see it.
And you did remember all the words, right?
I did. Actually, I do try to remember all the words of my songs. I can honestly count. I've done over 1,000 shows since probably 2008, 8 or 9, somewhere around there. And we weren't, in the early days, 40 shows in a year was a lot, and I would say this, I have maybe forgotten the words to a song. I can probably say less than 20 times in my life.
That's good.
Like, I've always, like, that's always been a thing with me, and how I do that is I will listen to that song, especially if we're covering one, over and over. If I'm mowing a lawn, if I'm listening, driving down the road, and it's always been a thing to me. Like, I just try to make it. I don't really try to make a song my own, in the sense of like, let me jazz it up. I'm not trying to church up something. There's a lot of songs that aren't broken. They don't need to be fixed, And I'm not saying people that do that, that's cool. I just try to, like, people know it by how they've heard it. So I just try to match that identical.
I think that's come from these reality shows that have been on TV, whether it's Idol or The Voice, where they're taking these songs and then putting their own spin on them. And it's not like they're demonizing, oh, it's just karaoke. It's like, oh, it's like, oh, you've really made it your own, is what I can like hear in my head now. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But you had your own experience with some reality TV. Tell me about
that. It's just, I mean, as I tell people, it's not everything as it seems as you would watch it, I guess. The couple of producers that we worked with directly, absolutely just amazing people. I absolutely think the world of them. Super cool. They even stayed fans after the show. Like, they still supported us and were like, yeah, this is great, man. Like, you guys are killing it, but my experience on the show was probably not the best.
Yeah. So we'll get to that real quick, but real quick, what was the show called and how did you get on it?
Yeah, it's called Real Country. Really funny story how I got on it. I had a buddy of mine, his name's Brandon, and he is managing like a couple Texas country artists. And so I guess they had put out some feelers for this show because they wanted it. There's always a ton of country artists that are on like The Voice and American Idol and all that stuff. So the idea was like, you know what, since there's so many country music artists trying to do this, let's have a show just for country music artists, and that was what the purpose of this was. It was called Real Country. USA Network, had it. And so the guy who actually owned the show is actually the owner of The Voice too, from my understanding. But their idea was to take 3 country judges, 3 country music legends and people that made an impact and make them judges. And, initially there's, 7 episodes or 7 rounds. There's 21 total artists, and 3 artists compete. Basically, all 3 of you go round 1. 1 gets voted off by the fans. And then the next round is half the fans and half the judges. And so we got on the show because my buddy Brandon basically reached out to me and said, hey, man, you should put your name in the hat for the show. They're kind of reaching out, wanting more information from, some new country artists. And they wanted my guy, but he's going to be on a cruise ship that week and can't do it. So I told them about you. I guess they looked up one of your videos and said, yeah, we should get in touch with him, And so it was a 6-month process from February until August. And I'm telling you, like a week until they started shooting to even find out if we were going to be on this show. And I mean, it was just every week. We didn't have Zoom then. So, every week there was just calls of, hey, can we jump on a call? And I remember I'd have to, call my duo partner and be like, hey, man, they want to jump on a call with us at 6:00. And then, luckily he and I lived like 2 miles from each other. So I drive over to his house, or he drive to mine, and we jump in my truck and just take the call in my truck, so we can both talk.
Yeah.
And that was how we did it. And finally, I remember towards the end, I called one of the producers and I was like, hey, like, I absolutely need to know if I'm going to be on the show or not, because I have to schedule off work or I'm going to get fired,
Yeah.
But this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't want to turn it down, And
Yeah.
they were like, we're 90% sure. And like, they knew, they just had to get some legal stuff done. But, my experience, it was a lot of fun seeing how it was behind the scenes. It's really cool to see how they put it all together. The TV crew, all of them were great. I would venture to tell you my experience with the judges was, less than appealing. But not Jake Owen. Jake we were on his team. He was really nice to us, cool dude. And even afterwards, like, I'll never forget, when we got voted off in that first round, like, he ran up to the stage and he didn't have to do that. And he's like, hey, like, look, guys, like, nothing that was said here or happened here today is a reflection on you guys. Y'all killed it. He's like, I love what you're doing. I'm a big fan. And we had actually gotten the chance to open up for him about a year earlier.
Oh, wow. So you guys already kind of had like rapport.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he remembered us, but, those guys, anytime they're out on the road and, playing what they do, and especially if they get booked for one-off festivals and stuff, there's normally always a local opener,
okay.
So they're used to people like that doing it. We were working the circuit really hard at that point. And, luckily for us, the major booking agencies knew who we were, wouldn't pick us up for whatever reason, but they always approved us within 5 minutes to open up for any of their national acts. Like, I mean, we got to open up for Florida Georgia Line and Nelly on that tour, like for a one-off date. And like, that was fun. I mean, Chris Lane was there. I remember that. I mean, we've opened up for, from Janet Kramer to, we've even done the pre-show parties for Aldine and Tyler Farr and Cole Swindell. Like, we've done all this stuff. And, I think we pretty much just should have gone on tour with Low Cash. We've opened up for them, I think, like 5 times at different venues. And it's just funny how it works, man. But he remembered us. I just don't think that, at that point in time, in order to be able to actually invest in, somebody and stuff and somebody's career, from that standpoint, you don't really know what the results of that TV show were going to be. And I mean, we knew obviously after filming, I would just tell you the negative part was they should have let the fans vote before they weighed in their opinions, because fans are easily swayed.
I was going to say, real quick, who were the judges? Cause it almost had, I know it was on USA, but it was,
sure.
Yeah. And I know who the judges are, but I just want to hear you say it.
Travis Tritt, Jake Owen, and Shania Twain. I always tell people, I got Shania-lated. So off of that.
And I know you're pretty, and I know you're pretty open about it on TikTok and everything like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So what round did you get to? And then what was said to you by the judges?
We so actually, we were the first episode to get shot, and we were actually the first act to walk on stage and be shooting. And so after we had shot, so round one, first artist, everything, we come out. I think they made a lot of adjustments afterwards from what I heard on the other episodes, but it was about what fans didn't see. I'll just tell the truth. There was about 10 minutes of just straight berating us on stage. And
By
it was
production or by the judges?
the judges. It was Travis and Shania mainly. They were, I don't know. I feel like they were just trying really hard to be Simon Cowell. And it's like, I really wanted to say my piece about it because they pretty much came off and said, yeah, we don't need another good cover band or another Florida Georgia Line or whatever. And we were like, well,
Okay.
y'all picked the clothes and the song, let us play an original. We wanted to play an original. Again, I just say it like, that's what everybody in this town comes to do, is write songs, get their music out and stuff. And I think that's like, we obviously leverage covers, to keep fans interested. Like, hey, if you're a fan of this song inspired me to write my song, check it out. Like that's the hope. But, we were really wishing that we could do, an original, and we were ready to roll. But they put an amazing band behind every artist there. And that was what was awesome. Like, they put together these A-list guys that play in town, and literally, they made us all they just amplified the sound of every artist on that stage. And it was a great experience. You got to meet some new artists that I didn't know were working the same circuits that we were. And that was really cool. And Jake tried to save us. But as I'll say, I watched, 500 or 600 people in this room, beers up in the air, just singing along to Dust on a Bottle, loving every word. Like, just like, whoa, like you can see their face, like this is like a concert. And we're like, yeah, and it is. And that's what we want them to feel, and that's what, me and my duo partner at that time, we were all about it. Just putting on a show, like, let's put on a show and let's make it memorable. And, that was a great song because it connected. I've heard literally at high school graduation parties, I've heard that song playing, and I've literally heard it at family reunions where everybody's, 70 plus, that song just resonates with so many. And that was our goals. Like, let's resonate with this entire, like, there was just a huge wide age range of fans there in the crowd.
Yeah.
And that was the hope, man. So, but it didn't work.
Well, that's the thing though. Like, what did it feel like I'm sure as a country artist, you look up to people like Shania Twain and Travis Tritt. So what was it like when they, like, how did it feel when they said those comments to you?
Well,
did you take it seriously, or is like, oh, they're doing this for the show, or is it just,
I felt like it was instantly for the show, because I thought, you can't judge us off of one song. And if you are, then, whatever. And I'm pretty sure from what I heard through the grapevine from, other folks. And I know that the production team that was working with us was like, they were backstage super disappointed in how they handled it, because, and this is something to me, like, I am really against artists, entertainers weighing in on politics, because, and I'm the same way, because my thing is look, you've got to make your own decision. You're not going to rely on one of these celebrities to go tell you which bank to go up in a bank account, and stuff like, or you're not going to rely on them to tell you this. Like, I'm just saying off the wall things, because people are so easily swayed, and it's like, just make a decision on your own, like, come to the conclusion on your own. And I revert back to this show because I watched all these fans that were like in pure amazement, and they had a phone, a key fob, I guess, or whatever, to vote 1 through 5. Mm-hmm. And after Shania and Travis just kept going back and forth, it was like 10 minutes worth. And even Jake Owen was just sitting there like, what the world are you guys saying? And just completely like, I felt like they brainwashed the crowd to thinking, oh, you know what? Maybe it wasn't that good of a song. Maybe they didn't do as good because we weren't on Shania's team, and we weren't on Travis's team. And that's how I felt, because I know everybody was having a great time. And I had a couple friends in the crowd too, and they were like, dude, you guys just killed it. Like, and then all of a sudden people started talking, and it was like, that's how easily Shania and Travis influenced people, and before their own very eyes changed their mind about what they saw, instead of them just making a decision like, these guys deserve a 5. And then it's all of a sudden like, oh, Shania said that they're not good just because Shania doesn't like them. So I guess I just won't like them either. So I'll give them a 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
you said the show creator was also the creator of The Voice, and
yeah,
after being in media for so long talking to people in Idol, The Voice, even let's just say you did win. I
yeah,
have heard from multiple sources, and I'm not a music industry person, but what I have heard from people in the music industry, and you can let me know if this is accurate or not, is that let's just say you got a deal from the
yep.
show. I heard the deal is absolute garbage.
That's pretty much the rumor. And again, like,
And there's a
I'm not
name.
trying to come.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
go ahead.
and there's a name for it. I can't remember what kind of deal it is, but it's basically like
360.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And can you give us a quick rundown on what that is?
I don't know all the details, but I know that it's like obviously a lot of upfront in regards to, if it's tour support, advances, merch, all that stuff. But then, essentially until you pay back that debt, the label is going to
Own you.
recoup on everything. They're going to recoup on your shows, your merch, any of your streaming, all that stuff. And this is another thing too, like we've moved into the digital age, and streaming is great for exposure, but it ultimately, it's tough on artists. And it really, I feel more worse for the songwriters, because, there's a lot of people that back in the day, and I didn't actually know this until I was talking to like Daryl Worley's drummer one time. And Daryl Worley, they're great guys, great guys. But he was like, yeah, man, he's like, back in the day, he's like, you got a song cut on a record, it didn't matter really what the single was, because every songwriter was going to get paid, because everybody had to buy the CD, or everybody had to buy the cassette to get that song.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody got paid, but now that it's like, then it became like 2012, 2013, everybody's like, man, you got to get a single, because, with iTunes, people can now, they don't have to buy the whole album. They can just buy that one song. So you really need a single. And it's like, okay, cool. And then now that people don't even hardly use iTunes, now it's just streaming. It's like, it's made it tough. You think just from a payment perspective, a million streams is not very much. So, but back in the day, when people bought CDs and stuff, it was kind of like that. So it's definitely changed. And I would just tell you that 360 deal would be a whole lot harder to recoup these days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And this is the last thing I'll ask about the show, but when somebody at the Shania Twain, Travis Tritt level takes a dig like that and basically tells you you're not going to make it, is that one of those things where it hurts for a second, but then it's just like a chip on your shoulder to motivate you to do it that much more? And then when you get to that point, you could be like, see, check this out.
Man, and again, I don't mean to come off sour earlier. I
no,
like to tell
not at
people
all.
the truth. I feel like, and I watch these interviews all the time, people are really careful about tiptoeing around, and it's like, oh, attitude of gratitude. Like, hey, hold up. I can still tell the truth first. This is what actually happened. This is how I felt, about it. I will tell you that, man, I was disappointed. I took 24 hours. I always try to do that now. If there's something major change or something going on in my life, I take 24 hours and just let me sit with it and just see how I feel. Let me come back to it. It's kind of like you get that bad text message or that call or something you don't like. You throw your phone in the door and go for a walk, and I kind of did that. And then I turned all that into motivation. And I feel like, man, I've been turned down a ton over the years. And that was probably one of the toughest digs for sure, hearing that. But I had to sit there for a second, put the shoe on the other foot. I'm like, you know what? I'm sure at some point they've all heard this exact same thing. So this is nothing new. And you know what? They didn't give up. So why should I? And that's what it is. Turn it into pure, like, you know what? I've been told from family members, my best friends, my ex-girlfriend, give it up. You're never going to make it. You're never going to do anything. It's like, what defines making it? Because in my eyes, I went farther than, I ever thought I would, and anybody in my hometown ever thought I would. So, making it is your own terms. It doesn't necessarily mean a record deal and getting on the radio. It could be a lot of what you accomplish and you feel great about.
Yeah, I always tell people we're in the no industry. Like,
right.
I mean, like it sucked at first, but then it's just like it happens over the years, and then the next year goes by and it keeps happening. And like you said, family members, friends, or you just got to keep going. You have to be that visionary who sees something that they don't, and you just keep going. And obviously, you have a passion for it, because even if like everybody and their mom and sister told you to stop, you're just like, nah. Like, yeah. But
absolutely,
what keeps that fire burning for you?
Man, honestly, I don't just say this. I feel like a lot of people do just kind of say it, but it's still one-offs from the fans. And I when I say that, it's just like these messages, man, and they always come at the right time. Because you're right, we're in the no industry. It's a complete roller coaster, and it's just so many up and downs. Like, you got to have it feel like I'm on a boat in the middle of the ocean. You got to have your sea legs on, trying to figure out how to ride these waves. But I always say it like, it's the message of like, I've had a couple, and I had one recently. I'm probably going to post a TikTok video about it, but guy was considering taking his own life, man. And he was like, I just felt like nobody could understand, like, and it was just like, there's no end in sight. Like, I couldn't do anything. And he's like, man, I heard your song, Soul in These Boots. And like, I don't know why, but it just connected with me at the right moment. And I felt like for once, like, I realized I'd made the wrong choices, and I'd done this, and I'd gone down the wrong roads. Somebody else had been there, because sitting in this, what feels like, my own little world in some little box, I just felt like you feel like you're the only one. And I was like, dude, like, so glad you didn't. Number one. Number two, I'm glad the song touched you that way, because it is a true story about my life, and kind of turning back around, finding God again, and, just kind of redirecting my steps and not trying to do it my own way, which has led me down darker roads. And man, just when you get a message like that you affected somebody in that way, I mean, it just like, I take a step back, and I'm hesitant to go and like do a TikTok video or, tell that, because it's not a bragging thing. It's not a, hey, I want, like, oh, look at what this, like, it's not about that. It's, for me, it's like, that's all I've ever wanted, was this music to have an impact, like a positive impact. I just wanted people to find it relatable, that have been through those situations, not to bring up some terrible scarred memories or anything, but just to make you realize, hey, somebody else went through this, and look, they got through it, and then let that fuel a better version of yourself.
Yeah. That could be, I can't imagine getting like that form of a compliment. That's powerful. So how did you transition into TikTok? Like, I know it started as Musically, and a lot of people were dancing on it at first, and then the pandemic hit. Yeah. And then it's just gone through this little, not graduation, but it's just this ups and down roller coaster of what TikTok actually is and what it's kind of evolved to now. But why did you start doing TikTok, and how did you start doing it?
Man, I'd say I got to give my friend Alexander K some credit. And she is like absolutely killing it on TikTok. I think she's got like 2.7 million or something like that. It's just like insane, or maybe it's 1.7. I don't know. She's done great, but she just kept saying, look, you got to keep putting in videos. You got to keep doing it. And I think I put up a couple of videos, and like, I kept hearing like from some friends and stuff that were like, hey, like, just like get on there. Like there's people blowing up, music's blowing up, that Old Town Road song, whatever. Like, I was like, and here's my thing. I wish I would have taken social media more serious back in the day. Cause like, I'm the worst at putting up YouTube videos. I'm the worst at getting like content made and stuff. And I feel like I don't even have an iMac, and I feel like these guys just do it all day long on their iMacs, just making new videos and having them up. And I'm just like, yeah, I got my iPhone here. Let me try and do this really cool. But it blows my mind I did have one go viral, and I wasn't expecting it to. It was on a Sunday afternoon. I put it up, and it just started taking off, and like it was kind of really slow at first. And I just checked back on it, like, I don't know, every 30 minutes or something. And all of a sudden, I think I woke up the next day and had like 500,000 views, and I was like, oh my goodness, and like 70,000 followers. And I was like, wow. It's funny though. I hear all these people. I know, right? It's great, but the problem with TikTok is you like, if it's on Facebook or Instagram, you're still going to retain a huge percentage of those people that are going to see your videos. But I feel like even though people follow you, they spend most of their time in the For You page because they want to see what the most popular, hopping video is for that day. So they hardly go to their following. I get about the same amount of people that watch my videos every day. And it's funny. It's like, wow, it's like the same amount of people as whenever I had like 1,000 people following,
Yeah.
So it's tough, man. I don't think anybody knows the secret, but it's been great for driving people to your streams, as I would say, is just be ready. Because I posted up a demo of a song that wasn't ready to be put out yet. And it went viral. And I lost all those people that wanted that song at that moment. And I I didn't have it ready. It wasn't ready to be put up for nothing. And I felt really dumb about it because I probably could have drove that song all the way to #1, but I learned my lesson, and I'll never post a demo unless I have a one link ready for pre-saves or pre-order. So, but yeah, Alexandra told me to get on there. She's like, get on there. She's like, I've kind of plateaued about the 250 mark. And she's like, but then it'll take off again. And sure enough, I hit the plateau. I'm there right now. So I'm doing exactly where she was. I've been kind of stuck there for a while, but you know what? It's cool though.
The song you were talking about, is that Ruin My Truck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake in my life. I think it has like, I don't know, like 1.2 or 3 million views on the video. And I put it up. I remember waking up the next day to like literally 600,000 views. And I was like, I put it up at like 10 o'clock at night and then went to bed. I never dreamed it would do what it did. And it's funny. My friends are telling me, they're like, don't give up on it. Like, don't give up on that one. Like, keep pushing it. You need to keep pushing that song. Like, there's still tons of people on TikTok that haven't heard it. I'm like, I know, but I feel bad for the people that already follow me because they're probably sick of me making the video of the same story. But if it gets you new fans, it gets you new fans. So every now and then I'll slip it in between, pushing a new song. But my friends are like, that one's the hit. If you get that one to #1, it'll change your life. And I'm like, it probably is the hit. I need to do that.
It broke top 50 or top 40, didn't it? Or was it
19.
top 50? 19.
Yeah, hit 19 on iTunes. Yeah. And it's funny. I could not get it to go viral again at all before the release. I had 3 days of pre-order and it hit 19. And then it jumped back into the charts again about a month ago. It went viral again, that same video. And people started downloading again, and it shot up to like 60 on iTunes again after being off of the charts for 4 months. So it just blows my mind, man. It's just crazy. But that's the power of TikTok.
Yeah, yeah, it's always, and I had the same experience, and I think a lot of people do. That's why I always tell even my clients, I just post everything. Like, it doesn't even matter. But I mean, I guess with your song and you're trying to line it up, that's a little different. But like, it's always the thing that you could sit there and create a TikTok. Let's just say it takes you 8 hours to figure this out. You got all the captions in, you got like all the angles good, and it does like me. And then something you're just like, nah, F it. You just chuck it up there, and that's the one that hits.
It's all the time, man. I always tell people, I'm like, I don't even know what's gonna hit. I put up like a video of like my buddy catching a shark out at the beach, and I was like, I literally put like buddy catching a shark. I put my phone away and come back, and it had like 130,000 views in an hour, and I was like, no, and this makes me mad. And I just took the video down. I mean, nobody was following me off of it. So people watching, I'm just like, this is so dumb. Maybe I should stitch my own dumb video and be like, hey, now I got your attention, listen to my song.
Bro, you should.
I probably should, man. I've got some ideas for some cool stuff. But it's so weird. I can play a song live and it'll flop every time. Now I see people doing things, but it's almost like when they're not playing an instrument is when if they're just doing acapella, does really good. But all of my videos that I've ever taken off is just literally me lip syncing to my track. Like, and it blows my mind. I'm like, well, wait, listen to the live version, listen to the acoustic stripped down version. Like, nah, we'd rather just watch you lip sync it. So
that is so bizarre.
It blows my mind, but I'm telling you, it has literally been the case every time. So I don't know. Maybe I'll. I thought about doing a music video for Ruin My Truck, and if I do, that might give us more leverage, because I see these clowns on there posting up literally videos of scenes from a movie. Get like 1 million followers, and I'm like, you just posted a scene from a movie. Like, how'd you even get the rights to do that?
Yeah.
So it's wild, man.
Yeah, but no, I think you're doing a really good job. And like, I mean, obviously the music is good, but even like the storytelling too, like you said, like
Thanks.
the market is telling you that Ruin My Truck is like go. So yeah, I would just double down on that somehow. Yeah, like you said, maybe make a music video, or even I have no idea, maybe even come up with a certain TikTok for it or something. I have no idea. I mean, the possibilities are literally endless.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right on that one. I try to brainstorm every day and be innovative, but I guess I'm lacking on that area. So I'm gonna have to work on it a little bit.
So what's your biggest struggle when it comes to creating content for TikTok, or just video content in general?
Man, I would say just trying. I hate to sound like a complaint, but it's tough to, I would love to play more of my stuff live, just because I want people to see, like, hey, look, I'm not like fake. Like, this is me. Like, I don't go try and do a bunch of showy stuff. Like, this is song I wrote, and if telling the story behind it and playing the track is going to keep them, retain them, it's fine. Most people, even 5 seconds in, hey, if you want to hear this whole song, links in the bio, or hey, it's free to pre-save or whatever. If I'm telling my story about, hey, spent 10 years in a duo, and then I gave it up. I just hit a wall. I was done. And now I'm doing solo stuff. There's a ton of people like, oh, don't quit. And I'm like, I think it's just a matter of trying to get them to, like, hey, if you really want to help, like, this would help me more than and it's free to you. Like, go add this song to your playlist, especially Spotify, man. Like, just trying to direct that traffic to the link to hear the whole song is very, very tough, because a lot of times I don't think people pay attention to that part in the video. And then, me, my face, or, my body's taking up most of the video. So I've only got so much room to, like, put stuff, but retaining their attention is so important, because that's what creates the shares. And I've noticed this, the shares is absolutely what triggers that algorithm to get into the For You page. So doing that, driving the traffic, because you want them to subscribe to you on YouTube. You want them to, click on your link and go add that song to their playlist. It costs them nothing. And most people, I don't think they really understand. It may not seem like a big deal to them, but it is a huge deal for a new upcoming artist, because it triggers Spotify algorithms and Apple Music algorithms to where, all of a sudden you get thrown on a playlist. And that's what happened with my last song. One of those songs is the name of it. And now it's on, like, the second biggest country playlist on Spotify. And I don't know anybody at Spotify. And, like, I've always heard you had to be on a label or major management that was in with somebody, like, to even get on that playlist. And I credit TikTok for that, man. But it is tough to be constantly reinvent yourself from a content perspective to retain people's attention, and then really get them to understand. Because I have a ton of people 3, 4, 5 seconds in, like, oh, don't quit. They'll comment on the video, and then that's it. And it's like, hey, I need you to watch. Like, if you really want to help, go straight to this playlist and go add this to your playlist. You have no idea what this does for me. Free to you and worth $1 million to me at some point down the road. So.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you're doing a great, like, you're crushing it, because you've got, like, I think at this time, you've got, I think, a little over 262,000 on TikTok. Yep. You've got like 13.5 on Instagram and a little over 1,500 on YouTube. Now, with all of that said, what benefits have you received from just doing video content? Like, are you getting, like, invites from shows? Are you getting shout outs from other country artists? Are you making sales on iTunes? All of the above?
Pretty much all the above, except the shout outs from other artists. But I mean, like this, Thomas, I appreciate you reaching out, and being able to be on this. Like, I've had a couple different, podcasts reach out, which has been super cool. I've had some shows, nothing that's concrete, come into effect yet. But I've had some places reach out, which is cool to know that fans are sharing it with them and they want to see. The coolest thing I've seen out of all this was I played an acoustic show, and these people one couple drove 2.5 hours and another one drove like 3.5 to come watch the show. And it was like at this little restaurant 5 minutes from where I live. They just like, I go there and eat all the time, and, COVID is still going on. They're like, hey, we're going to kind of do some live music. Like, if you want to play. And I was like, sure, I'll go do it. And like, people came to hear Ruin My Truck, like literally. And they flat out told us they were there early, like made sure they had a seat, and I'm just rolling in like, I'm elevator music tonight, I don't really care. So it's funny. That's one of the benefits. And then, I mean, there is a lot of people that I'm sure don't comment and stuff that do take the time and actually do go at least check out one song. And that's what you want them to do. Hey, go check out this music. You probably aren't going to hear it on a radio station, but maybe one day you will. But hey, right now, here's some stuff that if you're tired of hearing the same 20 songs over and over every hour on the radio, here's something new. Maybe you'll like it. And if the people go do that, it's been awesome feedback. So
I think music is just changed, because I keep hearing and seeing artists on TikTok or just on just the power of video in general. Because I mean, like you said, Old Town Road, that's how that song popped off on TikTok.
Yeah.
I listened to a band called Falling in Reverse, and a lot of people didn't know who they were, and that popped off on TikTok. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. And when you're writing a song now, have you ever thought about maybe trying to see like if it could be a TikTok, if that makes sense? Like, if you wrote the song, like they could somehow clip like the hook or the bridge
Yeah.
or something into a TikTok.
It very well could. Yes, they answer that. I guess the short answer is yes. I don't really know, from a perspective of, again, the whole live thing. It's kind of funny. I feel like I'd almost have to record it, upload the video private, and then just use the sound and lip sync to me being live. I hate to say it, man, but I really don't get it. Now, my friend Alexandra, she'll come in and slide in front of her coffee maker, and she makes coffee and sings the songs in the background, and it goes viral like every day. She does a new cover every day, just 30 seconds of it, and I think it's great. She's killing it.
Is she singing your songs?
No, I need her to. Right, I need like, I'm gonna say, hey, Lexi, I need you to do this for me. But I also think, there's a situation too where, I mean, I feel like you've got to have something cool going on in the background. And I've like, and it can be silly, but it can be just totally different. It's going to attract, somebody to want to sit there and watch this video. And I actually tested this out. So I make whiskey barrel furniture on the side. Like, that's something that I enjoy doing, is woodworking.
That's cool.
And I enjoy just kind of diving into that world a little bit. I've learned a lot about it, made these whiskey barrel coffee tables and stuff. So I literally set up, and it's kind of funny, we were talking prior to this, about trying to get the camera angles and all that stuff right. I know I'm getting like really dark on this thing right now.
It's all
the
good,
light's fading.
Don't worry about it. The way I look at it is like, when you pop off, it's like one of those times where you can look at, where it's just like, oh, we did this interview on this internet, and that it's like, it's almost like vintage. And then, so you can look back and it's like, yeah, we were messing around with an iPad, and now you've got like this whole crew or whatever, and gets it done for you.
First generation Zoom here,
Yeah.
Y'all remember that? No, it's like, I remember, like, I did this video and I played, I think it was I did Country Road, Take Me Home Country Roads. And I just played the karaoke version on my work phone. And then I had recording through TikTok on my other phone. I literally had this mic stand sitting up on my workbench, and I'm like sanding a part in the barrel, sanding down the barrel, and just singing along with the song. and it got like, I don't know, 50 or 60,000 views. And I laughed. I was like, okay, I guess I just need to make furniture in the background and sing. And that's all I need to do.
Like make furniture, lip sync to my own songs.
That's it. And then I just needed, at the very end of the video, I said, hey, here's what I made out of it. And I zoomed out, and it was the Whiskey Barrel coffee table. So it was super cool. So,
that's awesome, man.
But yeah, it's funny how it works, man. You never know what's going to take off.
And what is your definition of making it? Before I forget, I know we talked about earlier, like, a lot of people telling you, no, or to quit or to just stop. What is your definition of making it?
Man, I've changed it so many times over the years. I mean, of course, when I was younger, I was like, man, especially when my ex-girlfriend and, family members and best friends are all like, oh, you're wasting your time. Yeah. I went through like kind of a downward spiral with all that. And I was like, I'm going to go out and prove this point. I'm going to make it. And, to me at that point, making it was getting a song on the radio, opening up on a major tour, and like all this stuff. And I think now it's like, it's kind of cool from a social media standpoint. Like I have a ton of people from back home that follow me, and my friends know. And I've had a couple of people that, I've been friends with, I've known them for a long time. And like, they'll just, every time I play a show, okay, hey, can I get a picture with you? I'm like, but they come at it like just so like, is it okay? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I know you. And I'm like, don't do that. I'm still the same guy you went to school with. And like I haven't changed, and I don't ever want to, and I never will. But I think it's kind of cool when you make an impact and you feel hometown famous, and it's like, but you don't want to. But I think it's kind of cool when you're like, when you really have your hometown behind you, and just like people are, all about, they get so excited for you, anything that happens. And I don't think there's anything else that'll make you feel more proud as seeing the smiles on the faces of people that, you went to school with or grew up with, or family members, neighbors, whatever, that just like, man, I love this. I love this. And to me, making it is when you're satisfied with the work you're doing, which is the music, obviously. And that music has a positive impact on people. That's making it to me.
And how would it feel? Because I believe people get what they really want. Joe Dirt, I think, said that one time.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, but what do you think it would mean to your dad when you make it?
Man, now it's so funny. He's probably one of my biggest fans. And at one point, I know he hated my music. I know he did. And I think what really changed it for him was when I built this social media following, and people like slowly but surely, it takes time, man. Rome wasn't built in a day. But it like started following real close on social media, and my posts are blowing up, and like, hey, we're doing this. Hey, we're opening up here. We're doing the pre-show for, Aldine, or hey, we're doing the pre-show for Kelsey Ballerini and Sam Hunt and Lady A, over here. Oh, hey, we're going to be on stage, with, Chase Bryant tonight, or, hey, we're doing another one here. Like all of a sudden people are like, whoa, like, and then they go ask my dad when they see him out, man, Todd's really, Todd's doing this, or, this, like, that's crazy. And Dad, but what, like, and then he got to the point, like, I guess it started making him feel good, like my mom would tell me, she'd be like, oh, he'll never tell you, but he just brags about it in public all the time, Yeah. And I had to laugh. And finally, my dad and I, we didn't have the best relationship for years, but now I feel like we're closer than ever. Like I talk to him pretty much every day. Any major decision, like I'm always like, hey man, what do you think about this or this or this, whatever. And so glad and so thankful that we, have tightened up our relationship. I love him more than anything. He's great. He's been great, solid ear for advice. And I think if anything ever happened, like, I don't really know. He'd probably freak out more than I would, honestly, because he just has so many people to go tell. And I know that makes him feel good, and he loves talking about it. And so that's really cool.
And what's one of the most inspirational things he's ever said to you?
Gosh. I mean, he said a lot of things, man, that along the way that probably have been important to me. But I think that, it's gosh, that's really tough for me to nail down. I'm over here in my mind, like, how many dad quotes do I have? And it's like, well, how many hard lessons have I had to learn, along the way? But I think that it's, he's always been one of those people that's, forgiveness is imperative. You can let somebody hurt you once, or you can let them hurt you the rest of your life. And that's like a big thing with me, because I've gone through a ton of ups and downs, man, just from relationships and just friendships, people that have just done me wrong. And I think it's really taken me a long time to get to the point of just kind of like, all right, brush off the shoulder, realize forgiveness is for you more than anything. And, just because I'll tell you what, it's super easy to catch grudges in the music world and the business, all about that, the entertainment business.
Yeah.
Somebody just does you wrong or whatever. It's just super easy. And I think too, like, there's a lot of people that start making it, and they, I'm used to it by now, seeing them, jump up in front and just, they forget about you. They forget about the people that helped them, and all that stuff. And that's a tough pill to swallow. It's tough to see somebody whenever you guys are both working, or you feel like you're working harder, and all of a sudden they're getting success out of what you had been striving for.
Mm-hmm.
And, it takes some inner forgiveness. And I think my dad, anytime I'd be pissing and moaning about something, he'd always be like, look, man, you can let somebody hurt you once, or you can let them hurt you the rest of your life. It's your choice. And I think that's really helped me learn to let go of a lot of things that were countering, any progress in what I was trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And dude, I feel like I have this conversation like every other month with somebody in the industry, where it's like, I'll never understand it, is like, we're all coming up, whether it's on the media side, whether it's the music side, whether you're an actor, whether you're a model, like I always say, we're in the same boat, just different sections, right? It's the same industry.
100%.
We're all in the dirt. We're all grinding, and we're all eating crap, whatever. It sucks. We're getting no's. And then it doesn't even have to be a little bit of success, whether like it's a reality show, or like you do a commercial with X celebrity, whatever. It's just like the littlest inkling of success. And some people just like turn, and I'm like, dude, like,
man,
it's like, I don't know if anybody else knows, but it's like, you still work at Starbucks, dog.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like, chill.
It kills me. I've had coworkers who are like, oh, don't forget about me when you get, I'm like, stop. And I'm like,
dude,
I always kind of flip it. And I'm like, hey, well, you going to remember me if I did, like that kind of thing. I flip it back on. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not there. And so I told you, I was like, I don't ever want to be that person, because you know why? I have been around those people, and it sounds like you have too. And dude, there's nothing more. It makes you just want to, clench your fist and go up and just jack their jaw. Trust me, I got a couple country music artists. I'd love to just, clock them across the face and say, listen, still put your pants on the same way I do.
Yep.
But they've forgotten that. And, but this is, again, I go back to what my dad said, he used to always say it, because I get so angry at people and stuff. He'd be like, look, just remember that, revenge is the good Lord's. And he says it for a reason. He says, if you let people, he says, they'll trip themselves. And sure enough, I've watched that. So, but every time I tried to seek revenge in some way, it came back and bit me twice as hard.
It's never. That's when it's just like, because it sounds so good at the time,
Oh yeah.
Deserve it, but then it's just, it goes across, or it's not who I am as a person. It sounds like you're the same way. And it's just one of those things, like, you just got to breathe and just let time take its toll. And who knows what they're going. I always try to take a step back and think what they're going through too, because a lot of that 100%. Is ego and insecurity. So it's like, the bigger the ego, the bigger the insecurity, the bigger the ego. And I've seen it with music and actors especially. And it's just like, whoo,
100%, man.
And I always tell people, if I ever get like that, like, make sure to be like, hey, you remember that time you told me to not like that? Like, you're doing it. So like, stop.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, man. I think that I'm actually thankful for like the hitting the walls and seeing that, and being around and watching someone go through a change like that, because it makes you way more humble and realize, you know what, like, this is exactly who I don't want to be.
Yeah.
So, and they develop their own reputation. It happens. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, dude, I want to be super respectful of your time, and we're killing daylight, because like, I'm just like, it's like we're losing light here.
All good.
If you, one last question, and then I definitely want you to like tell everybody where to find you online and stuff.
Sure, sure.
You know, there's a lot of people in the music industry, you know, just starting out, and obviously you've been in it for more than 10 years. You've had so many ups and downs. If somebody came up to you and was like, "Hey, I love your stuff. I want to get started in music. Like, this is where I want to be, and this is where I want to go." Like, what is the best piece of advice you could give them?
I tell them to work on your songs. I mean, at the end of the day, one song has absolutely changed a ton of people's lives. You know, so you want to write the best songs. I always tell people if you want to write the best songs, you know, one of the ways I learned was I took my favorite songs, rewrote the lyrics to them, and kept the
Mm,
same melody. And that's like one of the best pieces of advice I ever got in figuring out how to write a song. And make sure that you overexpose yourself to everyone online, you know, just as much as you can, even though you think you're hurting yourself. Like if you post 5 videos on YouTube a day, it's great. Just keeps content going. And it's, you know, I've also learned on TikTok, it's okay to post those up and you can take them down and repost them again. And sometimes they take off the second time, you know. I would tell you just completely absorb any bit of exposure you can get online to get your name out there so that people know it, and don't forget who you are, because I think that that's one of the things I've experienced from shows and music people. You know, I've been in these label meetings, I've been in booking agency meetings and stuff, and it's always, oh, well, go do this, go change this, go do this, and then you go do it, and then it's something else. And after a while, you just realize, like, wow, I guess everybody, y'all made everybody who you wanted them to be. They're really not themselves, you know. And I thought, this is not who I want to be. But I think the ones that are select few and most successful are the ones that had a powerhouse army of fans behind them that built it up from social media. And I think the ones that have the most say so in their music and their careers are definitely those artists. So start with your fan base, start with working on your songs, because the better your songs are, the quicker you're going to build a fan base. That's just, you know, but don't let somebody try and choose and tell you who you should or shouldn't be.
mm, that's awesome, man. That's good stuff. Well, where can we find you online, man?
Yeah, dude. So I'm on farmersonly.com. No, I'm just kidding. So you can catch all my stuff just at Todd Cameron Music on Facebook, Instagram, and obviously on TikTok. I'm not really on Twitter a whole lot. I'm actually debating if I'm even going to still stay on there, because it's like about useless to me about this point. But if you did want to, it's just Todd Cameron on there. So yeah, outside of that, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, wherever you listen to music, type in Todd Cameron. And I think there's 2 of us. I'm not the Canadian guy that hasn't released music since the early 90s. It's like, you'll see me, you'll know. So but fresh songs out, and love for you guys to add it to your playlist and let me know what you think, you know.
And what are a few songs they can look for if they're searching on iTunes or just on TikTok or YouTube?
Sure. We talked about it a bunch. Ruin My Truck. I think the second one blowing up right now is called One of Those Songs. And then just released a couple new ones, Whiskey Proof and Soul in These Boots. You can check all those out. So
Cool. Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
awesome, man. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.